Hello everyone, it's your Peacekeeper coming at you with the next video in our How to Play series on the German destroyer line. This is the Tier 8 Z-23, and the Z-23 is actually the lead ship of the Type 1936A class destroyers. There were 15 of these destroyers in total, built between 1940 and 1941, and they served in the Kriegsmarine during World War II. The 15 ships of the class were named, of course, very originally, Z-23 through Z-39, and actually ended the practice of naming ships after famous people that served in the German Navy or helped shape the future of the German Navy. The class was divided actually into two subclasses, the Type 1936A and the Type 1936A Mob. The initial designs for the Type 1936A called for a large destroyer armed with 15-centimeter guns in a single twin mount forward and 3 single 15-centimeter mounts rearward. But due to the lack of availability in the forward twin mount, some of these ships actually launched with 4 or 5 single 15-centimeter mounts. These ships were not without their design flaws, though. They had poor seakeeping due to the new front bow design and the heavy 15-centimeter twin gun mount forward. The powerful engines also caused problems as the high-pressure steam turbines were unique to the Type 1936A's construction and proved to be unreliable in actual use. The Mobs tweaked the original 1936A design by introducing more reliable steam turbines, mostly due to the lack of availability of the newer ones, as well as strengthening the hull. They were also longer and better subdivided to further improve strength. Of the 15 ships, 8 survived the war, with France, the United Kingdom, and the United States taking the majority of the surviving ships. Z-33 was taken by the Soviet Union and renamed Provorny, which means prompt, a name that even the Germans would like had it not been in Russian. The majority of the ships that were sunk during the war were sunk by aircraft, but Z-27 was sunk by the British light cruisers Glasgow and Enterprise during Operation Stonewall, which was the Allied blockade of the French ports in the Bay of Biscay on the west of France. Z-32 would be damaged by the Canadian destroyers HCMS Haida and HCMS Huron during the Battle of Ushant, and ultimately it was beached. The ship was then destroyed by frequent air attacks to prevent her reconstruction. In terms of in-game playstyle, Z-23 again brings into question the use of 128mm gun mounts or 15cm gun mounts. The 128mm gun mounts have a higher rate of fire, but you have one less total barrel. You only get access to 4 guns. Theoretically, the armor-piercing damage per minute is higher slightly, but the chances of achieving those Citadel hits at longer ranges with the 128mm AP is lower than that of the 15cm gun mounts. HE damage per minute is firmly in the favor of the 15cm gun mounts, as you not only have more of them, but you also have a much higher fire chance. After playing just one game with the 128mm guns, I switched back to the 15cm guns immediately. About the only thing that I could think that would make the 128s more playable is if you ran basic firing training on your captain to get the improved reload. Now, this captain currently does not have it, and so that probably is the reason why I didn't enjoy playing the 128s. That said, the 15cms do have much better AP penetration at longer range. The fire starting chance is significantly higher, and as a result, the ship actually does better, in my opinion, with those guns. So that's what I ran. German Hydro actually becomes a factor on Z-23, as the 4.44 kilometer ship detect range on the Tier 8 German Hydro is significantly more usable than the previous 4.1. Overall, it really does help turn the tide in your favor, provided that you can use it correctly. Also, Z-23 gains access to the Tier 8 consumable slot, which drops the concealment of the destroyer down to 6.2 kilometers, with concealment expert and camo, as well as the concealment module, making this a fairly stealthy destroyer at Tier 8. Like all German destroyers, she isn't very maneuverable, but she is fast, and the guns do hit hard. The torpedoes are also useful, with a 9.5 kilometer range, 66 knot speed, and 81 second reload time. Her torpedoes are spam-worthy and quite easy to be successful with. You get a lot of really good practice as the torpedo tubes it seems like as soon as you launch them, they come right back up. Typical, German destroyer, especially at the high tiers. They don't do a whole lot of damage, but they do enough, and that's what makes them very potent. Z-23 is still not a cap contesting machine, though, and in her tier range there are ships that easily out-contest her for caps. But her Hydro, when used appropriately, is more than capable of turning the tide in Z-23's favor and giving it just that much more of an edge over other destroyers in destroyer versus destroyer fights, and we're going to see that in the battle video. Overall, for a Tier 8 destroyer, Z-23 is a strong and capable ship when played cautiously and strategically. She has a number of very good strengths, mostly in the torpedoes and the gun, and she has a few weaknesses as well, maneuverability and durability overall. Okay, let's talk about some stats. In terms of hit points, Z-23 has 19,500 hit points, up to 30 millimeters of armor. The main battery consists of 3 single 150mm gun mounts mounted at the rear of the ship, and a single twin 150cm gun mount mounted up front. If you opt for the 128s, you do keep the 3 rear gun mounts, but gain 1 single up front. So for 4. Your main battery has a 10.8 kilometer firing range, 6.7 second reload time, 90 meter dispersion. HE shell damage caps out at 2200, but you have a 13% fire chance. Now let me check and make sure we don't have any flags on that might throw that off, which we do. So that's going to... no, we're supposed to be taking off flags, not adding them. It's going to be 12% without that. And take off my speed flag real quick. The AP does 3,700 damage, and both have the same velocity at 835 meters per second. Torpedo tubes, 2 quad torpedo tubes, again 9.5 kilometer range, 66 knot speed, 14,400 damage, 1.4 kilometer detection range, 81 second reload, and 6 second 180 degree turn time on those. Torpedoes are very, very useful on this ship. I can't stress that enough. This ship is a very strong torpedo boat with very good backup guns. In terms of anti-aircraft defense, the ship really doesn't have any AA that I would feel comfortable in recommending, like an AA build on, but it does have anti-aircraft. You have 4 dual 37mm flaks, we have 4 quad 20mm flak Fühlings, and 2 dual 20mm flak Zweilings. And your overall AA range starts at 3.5 kilometers and steps down to 2 kilometers. Max speed, I thought I took the speed flag off. Jeez, game. 37 knots without the speed flag, 38.9 with. Of course, you get speed boost, which makes the ship capable of going over 40 knots. Very fast ship. 680 meter turning circle radius, though, and 3.6 second rudder shift time. So rudder shift is very slow, turning circle radius fairly large for a destroyer. Concealment range by sea, 6.2 kilometers. Detection range by air, 3.5 kilometers. So basically, as soon as your AA guns start opening up, that's when you get detected by aircraft. In terms of upgrades, I am running Main Armaments Mod 1 in the first slot for the 20% reduction in your main battery and torpedo tubes being incapacitated, as well as a 50% increase in their hit point pool and a 20% reduction in the time it takes to repair them if they get incapacitated. Also in this tier, Magazine Mod 1 for the 70% reduction in your ship's chance of being detonated is also another very useful modification if you are out of detonation flags. Or you could just get detonated because it's already a rare chance of happening and then get the flags. Auxiliary Armaments Mod 1 really isn't all that useful because we don't have any secondaries, and what AA we have is not really worth speccing into. In the second slot, I am taking Propulsion Systems Mod 1 for the 20% reduction in the chance of your engine being incapacitated, as well as a 20% reduction in the time it takes to repair them. You could also run steering gears mod 1, which is the same thing as propulsion mod 1, but for your steering. Just kind of depends on which one you like to lose less often. Now for me, I don't like losing my engines, because crawling away at 20 knots or so with last stand is really annoying. You can't really get away from enemy ships very easily with that, so I personally hate losing my engine, so I run propulsion mod 1. If you have it, engine boost mod 1 is also a good option at this tier. In the third slot, I am running aiming systems mod 1 for the 7% reduction in the main battery dispersion, as well as the 20% increase in the speed at which the torpedo tubes traverse, 180 degrees. So that mod, that's really the only mod in this tier that I would recommend. The ship doesn't have any AA worth mentioning, so boosting its firing range really isn't going to help the ship out any. And the turrets turn plenty quick enough to be usable in gunfights, so there's no reason to really hurt your DPM for the sake of better turret traverse. In the fourth slot, I am running steering gears mod 2 for the 20% reduction in the rudder shift time. You could also run propulsion mod 2. If you don't mind a little bit slower rudder shift. Personally, I think the 4.4-ish second rudder shift time is a bit too long for a destroyer, unless of course it's a Russian destroyer, in which case have at it. But you play it how you want to play it. I personally prefer the maneuverability of the quicker rudder shift time. And propulsion mod 2, by the way, this only impacts the ship within that -6 to 6 knot range. It increases the power that the ship makes when it first starts moving, as well as it decreases the time it takes to reach full power when it starts moving. So that's that again, that -6 to 6 knot range. It allows you to sit in smoke and accelerate out of smoke very easily. We've kind of flip-flopped back and forth between those two throughout the German destroyer line, simply because of the various aspects of each individual destroyer. But this one, I am firmly in the steering gears camp. And of course, in the last slot, there is no other option for this. Concealment Systems Mod 1, 10% reduction in the detection range of the ship. That allows us to get down to that 6.2 kilometer range. If we were to not have it on there, it would be a much more uncomfortable 6.9, somewhere in that range. Target Acquisition Systems Mod 1 would be the only other one really worth mentioning. And like I said, I think the nearly 7 kilometer detection range without concealment system just doesn't justify the ability to spot torpedoes a little bit further out, or having a slightly higher assured acquisition range. So personally, concealment systems mod 1, no other questions asked. Speaking of consumables and detecting things, there is your hydroacoustic search, 4.44 kilometers for ships, 3.12 kilometers for torpedoes. Very useful. Alright, let's stop talking about this thing in port. Let's go look at it in a battle video. Alright, so Z-23 is a fun destroyer to play, but there's a couple of things that you need to really pay attention to when it comes to playing this destroyer. Like I said, it's a really the cautious destroyer when it comes to capping. You really have to pay attention to how you cap with this destroyer. If you can get the enemy destroyer to pop his smoke, that can be a huge advantage to you, because you can use that smoke to block line of sight from other enemy ships in the area to allow you to really get close in and use that hydro and shoot at him without ever actually being detected yourself. We will see that in this battle video. The other nice part about the hydro is that you can see enemy torpedoes coming at you much easier. You know, having an extra several kilometers of spotting range on those torpedoes just allows you to get a little bit more aggressively, but you can't just do that outright when you first get into the cap. In fact, my recommendation is when it comes time to get to the cap, you know, I would highly recommend you treat this ship initially anyway like you would a Japanese destroyer, meaning you want to hover at the very edge of the cap. You want to give yourself an avenue of escape, especially if support for your side is worse than support for their side. Remember, you have torpedoes that go 9.5 kilometers, they're 66 knots, so they're very quick. It's very, very, very easy to get torpedo hits with these. So as you're in the cap, you can use your torpedoes offensively, to cover and block kind of your retreat if necessary from that initial cap contesting. So this map is Trap. It is actually the recent change to Trap made it kind of fun. It opened up the B cap a little bit, made it a little less tedious to go into the B cap. So as you can see, our team is lined up BC, so the vast majority are going BC. I'm headed down to A to see if I can't sneak the cap. Never know what you can do on these maps. Usually the matchmaker does a pretty decent job of lining you up the same on both sides. So you never know. But there are 3 destroyers, one of which is a Fletcher. There is a Benson, and I forget what the other one was. I actually don't think I encountered it during this match, but as you can see, we are capping B and C very early on in this. It looks like the B cap is no longer being capped. That means they probably went AB. That's just one of those quick signs that you catch up on right at the beginning of a match that can kind of give you some clues as to what the enemy is planning or doing. Of course, we see here there is a Miyoko and a Tirpitz charging B. However, I don't think those are the ships that are actually, preventing... I mean, they are preventing the cap, but I think there's a destroyer in there that is also preventing the capture. And you can see we are capping A, uncontested, 40 seconds remaining. And you can see kind of how I'm playing this. I'm giving myself... I'm not charging their side whole hog. Giving myself plenty of opportunity to kind of escape out of here should we run into enemy destroyers. Now, if we run into that Fletcher right off the bat, he's got way better spotting range than we do. 19 seconds. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, there's Nelson. Did he come all the way down here without any destroyer escort? That'd be kind of crazy. There's a Kid. That's the other ship. Was that Kagero, Kid, and Benson? Fletcher, Benson, Kid. Oh! Okay. Cap has been blocked and we are spotted, so that's going to be, well, just about any of those destroyers. And it's the Kid, which is basically a Fletcher. So, tier 8 Fletchers, but you can see we get the first parting salvo off and manage to do a fairly decent amount of damage. Now, Nelson, he's run himself out of the cap. Oh, there he is. So he's kind of spotted. Now, we're going to try and work this around a little bit. See if maybe we can't get lucky and we cap this without actually getting, running into enemy ships. Ooh. Sneaky. Kind of, but not really. Okay, so he's back in the cap again. So we're going round and round with the Kid. Now, normally I would not recommend doing this, but we've definitely got the overwhelming support majority here. We've got ourselves a New Mexico and a Fuso that are currently assisting. Our Budioni over there is doing, I don't know what, but I also don't know what the New Mexico and Fuso are doing currently. Probably focusing down that Pensacola. So we're going to try and push into this a little bit and see if maybe we can't get lucky. Our torpedoes missed. We got 30 seconds and then they're back up again. Which, they come up so often, it's really easy to abuse those things. Trying to get this Kid out of here because, Fletcher, Kid, very powerful ship when it comes to destroyer hunting. We've popped our Hydro in the hopes that maybe he's still in his smoke and I'll be able to spot him. And nope, I'm detected, so that means he is not in his smoke any longer. So we're going to turn and we're going to turn back out and away, and there is the Kid once again. So this time we're actually going to pop our smoke. Since he is firing, he's being spotted by by the battleships. And Nelson there trying to hit me with HE. Probably a good thing he did not hit me with that. And still continuing to engage the Kid here. This is the kind of damage that he's probably not wanting to take. Yes, he has a heal. However, that heal only does so much. Launched 2 sets of torpedoes at the Nelson, which looked like he was kind of slowing down, sitting there stationary. Hindsight, probably should have launched a set the other way. And at this point, I think we're going to... 5 shell hits. Ooh. At this point, I think, we got 18 seconds of Hydro up. Should get pretty decent advanced warning. The Nelson's starting to go backwards. of course. Huh. Probably not going to get any of the shell hits, so we'll try and start him on fire, which we just accomplished. And kind of hoping he decides to burn his damage control party right away. That would be nice. Whoop. And we're out of our smoke. Quick, stop shooting. Ah! What did we have over there? Well, we had we definitely had a kid off in that direction, and unsurprisingly, he is in the cap. There's the kid again. This time he pops his smoke once more. Now I'm the one that's being spotted by the friendly battleship. Well, his friendly battleship, and manages to take out the engine. So at this point, we're going to run away. We are gonna throw some torpedoes out there, but you know, again, when you're spotted like this, keep calm. Try not to go broadside unless you're about to get undetected, which I was. So we have the ability to really use that to our advantage. Launching a set of torpedoes here at the Nelson, and then we are going to go ahead and launch one to the rear, just in case this Fletcher decides to come out the back. Now, at this point, you can see what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to get the smoke cloud between myself and this kid. And if I can do that, that puts me in a very powerful position, because the kid will not be able to return fire with his guns if I can detect him via hydro. So it's a matter here of just getting close enough and having our hydro up to engage him. Now we do have our own range, by the way, that which we can be detected when firing in smoke that is higher than that of the Fletcher. So that is one thing to keep in mind about these guns. I want to say the assured acquisition range is like 3.7k or something like that. But our hydro is up. So we pop our hydro, just not close enough yet. Getting closer, I can see where he's shooting at in the smoke, and there he is. Okay, so he is deploying himself in a manner which is advantageous to me. You can see there's a smoke cloud coming out the backside of this. We got a fairly decent amount of time before this Fletcher really gets the opportunity to even spot us again. And we've deployed our smoke because we're close enough to him now that it's really a non-issue. He can't detect us, and down he goes. Perfect example of how to abuse the hydroacoustic smoke or hydroacoustic search and their smoke. Apparently focusing on too many things at once here. Launching a set of torpedoes at the Nelson, hoping that we can get a torpedo hit on him. Still going to sit in our smoke and abuse it. Probably should be shooting AP at him at this point. He is broadside to us. AP does fairly decent damage. And we've done basically 34,000 damage. Yeah, he's slowly but surely turning around here. But we're getting nothing but shell shatters here. We need some superstructure hits. Oh, come on. And I think we're going to get one torpedo on the nose. We did get a fire on him. There's our torpedo on the nose, where his TDS does very little to help him. He repairs right away. And at this point, we probably should be getting out of here. So we pop our speed boost, and it is time to bail on this as best we possibly can. Now, I'm originally heading towards the south here, thinking, okay, we'll shoot at him. We're not going to be detected, so we're not detected. Should be in a pretty good position if he continues to push this cap, because there's no support down here anymore aside from this Bunioni, who pops his torpedoes. And down he goes. I'm detected. I'm going to throw a set of torps out there right about here. And the Bunioni gets him with very good torpedoes. Very, very good torpedo spread. So at this point, now we can go chase down the New Mexico. And so far, we've seen some pretty good tactics, but there are some things to remember. There are still destroyers in this match. There's still a destroyer in this match. There is a Benson, and our Gascon kills our kid. Whoa. That's kind of crazy. I think the Gascon was firing into the smoke and managed to hit the kid who was in said smoke and missed the Budioni that was in there. Oh, man. That's got to be like the worst luck possible. So we're going to go up and we're going to chase Mr. Garfield down. 52,582 damage. No kills yet, though. But this match is proving to be at least a fight to the bitter end. And I think what's really helped us out here is the fact that we did cap the C cap, we did cap the A cap, and we've been contesting the B cap pretty much regularly since the start of this match, making it very difficult for them to get any real points. Now, this New Mexico I was fully anticipating would turn out and run, and maybe turn in a little every now and then for the occasional broadside battery towards that Gascon or maybe the Fuso, whomever, tickled his fancy. Now, with 9.5K, we got about 2 kilometers of range. We should be well within the range of this New Mexico. However, he is sailing just slightly far enough away, and we're just slightly behind him. This is about the least ideal position for us to be in for a destroyer. We don't want to be in a stern chase if we can avoid it, but as you can see, he starts to make a left-hand turn. I was kind of hoping that I might be able to bait him to turn back, but I don't think so. If anything, he's probably just going to turn away, so this is just us trying to get some damage in on him. Budioni pops up in the smoke, 14k out. You can see here we're not doing real great amounts of damage. Looks like we might get 1 torpedo, maybe. No. Just barely ran out of room. If we were a little bit closer, probably could have made it work, but alas, we are not. Incoming fire there from a Tirpitz. Oops, speaking of fires, now the New Mexico is on fire. Oh, he burned it right away. Burned his damage control party right away. So now we're going to switch to AP, and you're going to get to see how the AP works on the ship. Works out quite well, for those who are wondering. Only did 2,300 damage thereabouts with it, but had we had some more time, we would have been able to do that. We're no longer detected, which tells us that Benson is nowhere nearby. So at this point, we need caps. We need caps because we are only 1 ship ahead. They have a full health Tirpitz. Unknown what the Normandy is. They just lost their Budioni, but the vast majority of our ships are kind of low on health. So there's our Benson. He's spotted and he's deployed his smoke. This is a perfect opportunity for us to go play with him. Oh, he's coming out of his smoke. I'm spotting him because he's firing, and he's not in his smoke currently. There is no radar on our team, and certainly none that are in range, so I am the only person spotting this Benson. Now, good Benson players, in which this guy is, notices that he is still detected. Now, there's a couple of different ways in which you can handle that. The way in which I would handle that if I were him, I would be probably using this as a perfect opportunity to back up into my smoke. But because you know that you are being spotted, that means that there's probably torpedoes coming down the pike here, and he chooses the correct orientation, if you will. And he is spotted, but nothing is able to really damage him. And, well, we're getting closer and closer here. You know what's about to happen. It's about to be a gunfight. Consumable check. We are currently speed boosting, which means we're going to slow down fairly well. We are also hydro up as well as smoke up. So at this point, I'm really hoping that my torpedoes are successful. Man, he turned right into him. I really thought that we were going to maybe get 1. No. Okay, so now we slow down, turn in, pop smoke, pop hydro because he's within hydro range. And now we have some advantages to take. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I have 150 millimeter guns. All he has to do is close to within a certain range, and we're in a world of hurt. Excuse me. So now it becomes down to, an awkward gunfight. And he's getting help. Oh, and there's torpedoes. So we're going to turn. Fine, you want to launch torpedoes? I'll launch torpedoes back at you. Provided my torpedo tubes can actually traverse. Come on. Notice he stopped firing, which means that he was trying desperately to get his second set of torpedoes off. Neither one of us were firing at each other. Very awkward moment, but I end up coming the victor and torpedoing him successfully. That is our second kill. I gotta go hide in shame. Is that their Normandy? Or maybe not. Who knows? No shame at all, man. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Sometimes you launch a wide spread and somebody makes a silly move and ends up eating it. Sometimes you launch a narrow spread and they make a smart move and dodge them all. Sometimes you just get lucky. I think I got lucky. Although I think had he stepped on his brakes a little bit sooner, I think the second set of torpedoes would have probably got him anyway. But you never know. Okay, so at this point, we need caps. It's 2 versus 4. We don't really need the caps. But again, remember, our ships are very low on hit points. We've got a cruiser and a battleship, a tier 6 battleship, going against a tier 8 battleship. Down goes the cruiser. Tirpitz is a little bit low on health. This Normandy is off, I don't know where. And apparently our New Mexico either disconnected or just decided he was pulling the plug, thinking either we were winning or we were losing. I don't know. But ends up going to be a free kill for the Tirpitz. So there is the New Mexico, his last minutes. That's no good. So now it is 2-2. We would probably still win this without caps, but because there's 2 battleships, I really don't have any reason to fear either one of these ships. I have better detection than they do. Neither one of them had any method of actually detecting me. So if I can take out 1 or 2 of them, that would be amazing. So this Tirpitz here, Papa, is looks like he's turning around to kind of come back and face this Fuso. The Normandy is off hiding. I don't know why. They think he's a bot. I suppose that's possible. Now remember, we got 9.5 kilometer range, so it's going to depend on what this Tirpitz is doing, how we behave. I'm kind of in area denial. He's coming back towards us. And so I'm just going to launch these torpedoes there. Very low probability that we'll actually hit him with any of them, but you never know. What you saw there was actually a non-targeted firing. Almost hit him with it. You can still, people say that stealth fire is no longer in the game. That is at best a half-truth. The half part of that truth is that you can still stealth fire at ships that are coming into your detection range, but aren't quite there yet. You can do that. You really have to know the lead time, and then your chances of getting hits are very low. So come back around this, look at what the Tirpitz is doing. Oh, rip. That's going to hurt. Don't think he's going to duck enough. Nope. 2 of them, and down goes the Tirpitz. 87,600 damage. At this point, it is a foregone conclusion we are going to win this. And we have Mr. AFW Lord Tech over here in his Normandy. So we're going to go chase him down. Get some damage in before the end of the match. Sorry, not Lord Tech, Lord Toad? I'm guessing that's Toad. So, yes. Yes to YouTube. And at this point, we are going to engage him with guns. Really nothing to worry about. He shoots, so we've slammed on our brakes. We knew that was coming as soon as we saw the turrets turn. And, of course, swing and a miss. We deployed our smoke because he fired now, which means that we can engage him, but the match ends. Finally, at the end of the match, went the whole 20 minutes just for this one match. 90,661 damage, 3 kills, 1 solo cap, 1 assist cap, 2,486 base XP. There's the credits and XP screen. You can see we didn't do a whole lot in terms of AP damage, but it's all there. Anyway, Z-23, it's the cautious capper. It is a fantastic boat to play, though, because the torpedoes are ridiculous amounts of fun. Anyway, I'm your Peacekeeper. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching.